Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Better, a show about two longtime friends trying their best, growing up, and hopefully getting better. I'm Zach Johnson.
And I'm Sam Cherry.
And I'm Sneeze Cherry.
And I'm Sick Boy Forever Cherry.
Suburban Illuminati, Sam Cherry.
Drinking some bad wine and I'm sick. No, so I just got off 2 weeks of traveling, which is why we didn't have an episode the last week or two or some amount of weeks. We weren't able to record the second week because I forgot my computer charger when I went up to Louisville for work, and so I couldn't record the Ding Dang show.
Couldn't bring the content.
Couldn't bring the content. We did just hang out and have a company retreat, you and I, but couldn't bring the content, which is okay.
And I had the world's hottest shepherd's pie.
Yeah, yes, you did, and a shot of Jameson unexpectedly, and I asked her a pour of Jameson, which was in a shot glass. I don't know what kind of Wednesday night this lady thought I was trying to have, but well, it's just so funny because you could have sipped on it, but if it's not like in a glass with ice, it does feel like you have to take it as a shot. Anyway, I got off the road, and then the minute I got off the road, Sophie was like, "Oh, well, we need to go meet number one fan Catherine's new puppy," and I said, "Okay."
Ooh.
And so we did that. It is an Australian Shepherd.
Oh my gosh!
Poodle, something.
Holy man!
Curly boy.
That's incredibly exciting. Australian Shepherds, for those that don't know, are in. Those, pugs out.
Were pugs ever in?
When the Queen had pugs, I believe they were in.
The Queen has corgis.
I think the Queen also had pugs.
Okay, she might have. Anyway, I'm allergic to dogs, and so it'll wear off. It'll wear off pretty quickly. But I
didn't know. I didn't know you were allergic to dogs.
I am. That's always my joke whenever I'm allergic to dogs and cats. Whenever I'm at like a restaurant or the doctor, and they say, "Do you have any allergies?" I go, "Just cats. So as long as there's not cats in the food, I'm good." But yeah, allergic to dogs and cats, and so I sound bad, but I will sound better. And before I left, my wife bought a bottle of wine, and was like, "Oh, I'll have a bottle of wine. You're going to be gone for a week. I'll just hang." And then we opened it together and tried it, and it is hands down the worst wine I've ever had. So it is still exactly as full as when I left. Sort of a negative review. It's OXTE Red Blend, The Silence. Mm-hmm. That's what's written on this label. I don't know.
Oh man, guns out, shots fired.
Oh, there it goes. It's so bad. I'm gonna be drinking it this whole show, but it's
gone. Welcome to Unrecommendation Station.
Yeah. I recommend you don't drink that wine.
I recommend you don't drink this wine. What's up? We're the Savant Boys now. We went from Sick Boys to Savant Boys.
I'm going to tell you all about the terroir of this shitty wine. They grew the grapes in a garbage dump. Hey, is the NBA Finals happening?
Yes, we haven't checked.
Is sports still happening?
Yes, we have not checked in on the NBA Finals in quite a while. So the NBA Finals are happening. There are two teams currently. It is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns.
So the Nets are not in it.
No, the Nets are not in it. And I think this is kind of, and this, the Nets aren't in it, nor are the Clippers, and nor are the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. There's a lot of like really big contending teams that had, and also the Denver Nuggets.
Sure.
It's kind of bad for me in that all of these teams kind of had a narrative.
All of these teams you liked better than the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns.
I have an appreciation for aspects of both the Suns and the Bucks, but I cannot say that I had them going into this season. That would be a big fib.
It's like me and the Lightning, where I don't like them, but I very much appreciate how good they are.
Yeah. So, it's kind of unfortunate. So we have, at the beginning of the season, I was talking about that super team being formed in the Nets with Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Kevin Durant. But they just couldn't hack it because both James Harden and Kyrie Irving got injured, which has kind of been That's kind of been the theme of this season. So, for example, the Denver Nuggets, they have this really excellent player who just won the MVP. His name is Nikola Jokic,
Cool.
and there's another player named Jamal Murray. They both are like very good teammates, very good pals. Jamal Murray got pretty badly injured at the start of the playoffs. The same goes for Kawhi Leonard, who played on the Clippers. The same goes for both LeBron James and Anthony Davis of the Lakers. So
Sure.
it's been a very injury-ridden season, which is probably something to do with how short the distance between last playoffs and this first season was.
Sure.
It was about like 2 months, which is incredibly short. And so
Well, this is much like the hockey season, where last year and this year, while if we had won, they would have counted. We didn't win, and so realistically, they did not count. These last two seasons didn't count. It was just like, I don't know. Everybody's just kind of staying fresh for the 2022 season when sports are actually back.
Yeah. So it's been kind of a bummer seeing a lot of these really like you're kind of, you know, not to disparage these people, but there's some of the teams, they're kind of sending out like their B squad. Like because like the rest of the players have been just incredibly injured. They've gotten hurt with just like not a lot of rest and other things like that. So it has it's been like it's been a pretty difficult season with that, but we've landed with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. I guess the narrative that you kind of have around those two is the Phoenix Suns have this one player named Chris Paul, who's 36 years old. He's been in the NBA forever. I mean, he's 36.
Sure, yeah.
And he has never been to a finals.
Aww.
And he's this really amazing point guard. He's kind of already cemented his legacy as like one of those John Stockton or Charles Barkley or Karl Malone types of just these like amazing players that have just never won a finals. Like it is, or like Patrick Ewing, just these guys that like you don't need, you know, history has already kind of written the last word on them. They don't really need anything else. But
right, Charles Barkley is right. Yeah,
yeah, like a finals appearance would be great. Like it would like so.
But Charles Barkley got the real prize, which is a Space Jam appearance.
Yes.
So he did get to be in Space Jam. But
yeah, he did get to have a Space Jam appearance where he does
forget how to play basketball in a really
he does forget how to play basketball. He gets beaten by a bunch of girls, which is pretty incredible. And also, there's a sequence where he is praying and he says, "I'll never go out with Madonna again." And it's like, oh, what a weird inside joke between you and the people that follow your career.
Yeah,
like,
it's a kids movie, Zach.
Yeah. It's a kids movie, which is why I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm seeing Space Jam Legacy tonight.
Yes.
Very excited to pick up all the nuances that were, you know, kind of laid down before us in the original Space Jam of like man and his own mythos and like how does one grapple with your own legend. Some of those very high class themes that were first presented to us in the first Space Jam. I really hope they don't botch the amazing groundwork laid by the first Space Jam.
I will tell you, from the clip of the Mad Max Fury Road scene that I saw, I think they're going to do a great job and stick the landing. I think it's going to be a good movie. For sure.
But yeah, one thing, and I just kind of get into the Bucks conversation, kind of my big point, I guess, is you and I were talking at our company retreat about something that I'm pretty excited about in like the future of the NBA that I think is something that is new and exciting. The Milwaukee Bucks have this player named Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he is from Greece. And he is 26 years old. He is this like mastermind player. He's gotten the MVP 2 times. He is incredibly skilled. He's just this kid from Greece. That previously was something kind of unheard of. In fact, I brought up another player, which was Nikola Jokic. He's this player from Serbia.
Okay.
And it's just this guy that lived his entire life in Serbia, like played for Serbian leagues, and then he went into the NBA, and he got the MVP this past season.
Okay.
So we're seeing kind of this like new move into like basketball as like a national sport.
International, you mean?
Oh yeah, that's right. International sport. And yeah, like I think it's just something that is that's really exciting, because the thing we were talking about is for those that aren't aware, the Olympics is happening right now. Go figure.
Sure.
And the USA men's basketball team is playing, and they have a couple players. They have this guy named Damian Lillard. They have this guy named Bradley Beal. Like these really good players. But they recently lost 2 games. One to Australia and one to Nigeria, which is wild. And it's wild because the USA, over the course of its entire history in basketball, has only lost 5 games. And now that is 7. They've lost 7 games, and 2 of them happened in the last like week.
That's
and
crazy.
I think the thing that a lot of people are pointing to is like, oh, like that's because they're sending their B squad. Like, they're not sending the people that are important. But I think, that's like a dead brain take on it.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Don't they want to win the Olympics? Why would they do that?
But a big brain take on it is that the NBA is becoming more and more international. Yeah. Which is like really exciting. And I got to thinking about this because there's like this list of the top NBA players and their nationality. And we have this guy named Joel Embiid, who was raised in Cameroon, who like didn't pick up a basketball until he was 16 years old.
We've talked about him on the show.
Yeah, he's this amazing player. He plays for Philadelphia. And there's this other guy. There's Rudy Gobert, who is a French player who, played his entire life in France and just is like a really top performing player now. We have this one guy named Luka Doncic, who is from Eastern Europe. Just a lot of like really exciting players. And those are like the top performing players in the NBA currently.
Right.
And of like the top 25 performing players that are under the age of 27, 10 of them are from different countries. Like they were like born and raised in different countries and just came to the NBA to play basketball.
And because as we had talked about in the very first segment of I like basketball and so should you, or I watch basketball and so should you, it's not that the NBA is getting worse, because like the NBA is the best it's ever been. Like the caliber of which makes sense over time. It's like breaking the 4-minute mile, right? Like the caliber of athletes over time as a sport zeroes in on really what are the best training methods over 100 years or whatever. You're going to get better and better and better athletes. And so it's just what you're saying is that the NBA is getting better, but also the entire international community is getting better at basketball.
Yeah. And I think it's like, it is this like, Ian, like we
Which
were
is
talking.
Fun.
Yeah. No, it is like, it's really fun. And I think it's just because over the last like 10 years, there's been so much like money and resources being poured into, like, I didn't know about this until after we talked, but Adam Silver, who's the commissioner of the NBA, has had this really big push in just like funding gyms and like coaching in Africa. And so that's why, we're seeing a lot of like players from Africa, like Joel Embiid or like Pascal Skimon. Oh wait, Pascal. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Whatever, it's Pascal. That's how people call him. Who's also from Cameroon, and like we have all of these, and like it's only going to get more and more. Like it's not gonna like. I think that the days of seeing these players as the days of seeing these players as just kind of anomalies is over. Like it was kind of interesting to see Joel Embiid, this amazing player who like had never played basketball, just kind of pick it up really quick. Right. But those days are like over, and like there's more and more people that are going to be coming from international spots. And that's just like, and like when you see players like Luka Doncic is this player who's from Eastern Europe.
Freak.
No, that's Giannis. Luka, he's playing for the Slovenian team, and he has said like time and time that playing basketball in America it's easier to score than it is in the European League.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's a real run and gun in the NBA. It's not college ball.
Yeah. It's like
if he was playing college ball, it might be similar.
Yeah, I mean, I think like every game, it's like kind of surprising if you don't get to like the high 90s or like over 100 for a game. And
it's very running.
That is, and so that is just like you're just zipping up and down. And like in the European League, at least the way Luca says, it's like much more methodical. Like the defense is way more intense, and like it, like there is no like them like the other team scoring a basket is like absolutely unacceptable. And so they play with a lot like higher caliber. And so like players that are being put into this environment like Luka then coming over to the NBA and just like being these like high scoring monsters is just like it's gonna become more and more which I think like the more I thought about that, the more just like the next 10 years are going to be really exciting just to see like other players just coming from different places, and
other
like
teams
said, like,
in other countries getting really good.
Yeah.
Or like I'm cheering for the NBA, obviously, but if the Cameroon team just has like, if the Cameroon league gets really good and it's like a much more international sport where like the NBA sends, I mean, obviously we have the Olympics and stuff, but
yeah. And it's like, it's funny because I was looking onto this on Twitter where no one should ever go. And, it was kind of like people still perceive other nations' basketball programs as kind of like arcane and like rinky dink. But
like you have to do a check to make sure it's not like warlock magic or what?
Yeah.
It's arcane. Do you mean archaic? I think you mean archaic.
Yeah, no, it's arcane. You have to you have to roll an Arcana check to see. Yeah, it might be. I mean, how else did they beat us? There is no other possible explanation.
They get their power from a fiend that they pledge allegiance to. Yeah,
yeah.
They're arcane.
Some sort of the Monstars in the original Space Jam movie.
When the Greek Freak let off an Eldritch Blast in the middle of the game, it sort of was a giveaway.
And it just it flew like it flew across the entire this constantly. They're having to like make 5 and 6 pointer shots because there is no way to explain it.
Anyway,
but it's really exciting, and as you said, I'm really, really hoping that the USA team wins, just because like you're always you're rooting for the home team. It's basically, I think I said this to you at our company retreat. It's just like the Olympics is the highest caliber of a field day you can ever possibly have. It's just like if it is like all of these gymnastic sports, but if the game was like, we're going to run this egg on a spoon from here to here. And it's like, we have the best egg spoon runners ever. Like
I would die for the egg spoon team.
I would die for my team. We just have the best. We have the best team.
Yeah.
It's
nationalism without all the murder, which is nice.
Yeah. So even though the NBA finals is going to end pretty soon, I'll be keeping tabs on the Olympics, because with us losing these 2 games, I think that there's been a bit of a scramble.
Sounds like shake up. It sounds
with people like 2 other players just came in, and they're gonna like also help out Team USA, and so they're just like, I think the first one was like when like we lost the first game, it's like, oh, that's weird. And then we lost the second game. It's like, okay, like, what is happening?
Well, we can't rest on our laurels of being like, it's like baseball where we're like the only team that plays except Puerto Rico and Japan. So like, we're obviously the best.
Yeah.
But, I think, as that changes, it's like, oh, we actually need to fuck around and play better basketball.
Yeah. I think it's like, I think the most interesting, like, it's just, I'm just very excited. That's all I have to say. I've said it a bunch of times, but, it's going to, it's going to get more and more competitive. And, I think that you can only really gain from that, or maybe or else it's going to become much more and more like defense oriented, the way that Lucas says.
Or unfortunately, we become like England, where we invent the sport and then we're shitty at it, which would be really sad if the international community, like how the English invented golf and soccer, and they can never win it either. So hopefully that won't.
Yeah, it's. I think the way it's honestly, I think especially with basketball, national teams like just have more emphasis in it. Like they put their entire soul on the line, like every game. And I think that the players we have now just kind of thought that they were just kind of like, oh, we'll just walk in there really quick.
Yeah, and, it'll be fine. We're great at basketball.
Yeah, walk in there really quick and win this. And then just like I think that because we've won it so often, I don't think the USA, I think like we kind of put the basketball thing on the back burner as like that's a guaranteed gold. Yeah. And other players are like, you know, if you're going to take a shot at the king, you might as well go for the head, you know, like just absolutely try and wreck them. And they did. The two countries absolutely wrecked us. So what are you going to do? Very excited. Just excited for the future. And that is, just the international community coming together to make something better is another reason why I watch sports, and so should you.
Great. Like I said, I have been out of town for 2 weeks, so I have nothing. I have no thing. I can tell you about the reality show Strong. I can tell you, which is good, and you should watch it. It's good. And I could tell you how Disney World was, but otherwise I got nothing for you.
I would like to hear a bit about how Disney World was.
Damn. Unfortunately, I don't know why I said that, because I don't have a ton to say about it, but sure.
Well, I think the thing that we were talking about at our company retreat that's been really exciting was like the amount of effort that Disney goes into in just the exterior of the rides and things. Like my only real exposure to theme parks, I would say I know a great deal about Holiday World in Indiana.
Sure.
And so because of that, it is the greatest theme park that I've been to in my entire life.
But
for those that don't, it is a theme park. It is themed.
What's the theme?
The theme is holidays. I feel like people always forget this.
I've never been to Holiday World.
Oh my gosh, you're really missing out.
Here's the theme parks I've been to. I've been to Six Flags twice for field trips in school, and I've been to Disney World a week ago. So this is my and Six Flags is not a theme park; it's a roller coaster park. So I do not have. I've never been to these places.
Yeah, well, for those that don't know, Holiday World, their entire shtick is that it's like that scene, or the kind of not the scene, I guess, like the whole framing device for A Nightmare Before Christmas, which is you can hop from like holiday to holiday.
I had no idea. And it's in Santa Claus, Indiana, right?
It's in Santa Claus, Indiana.
That's probably why they did that. I had no idea. I just know they have free soda and free sunscreen.
They have free soda and free sunscreen. Yeah, family friendly, cleanest park. Yeah.
From the commercials.
Yeah. But they have
sponsor us, cowards.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, come on, Holiday World, Pam. But the framing device in Holiday World is that you start off in Christmas land, and it's like Main Street USA. It's everything is Christmas themed. All the restaurants are Christmas themed. All the shops are Christmas themed. And then from there you can go to Thanksgiving World, which has
genocide.
Yes, it has. It gets pretty intense. They do steal your stuff.
And then they give you blankets that make you sick on purpose.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific, but they're like they say a lot before you go in. It's like those who forget their history are doomed to repeat it, so they make it really aggressive. It's like it's very not fun. So you do that, and if you have time, you can also go to a Country Bear Jamboree knockoff, or you can ride a bunch of turkeys around. I don't remember.
Sure.
But you can also go to Halloween Land, which has some of the roller coasters. Halloween Land is the best one. It's just cool. There's a bunch of roller coasters there. There's the Raven. There's the Headless Horseman. They're both wooden. So if you're really looking to just mess your back all the way up and also
fuck up your whole body,
and because it is a wooden roller coaster, if you're just trying to roll the dice, just like the entire time you're on it, you're just like, this should not be wooden.
So
this cannot be wooden. Like
I always feel that way about the any of the boat rides. Not like sitting in a boat, but the the boat that swings you back and forth. Whatever those are called, the pendulum rides or whatever. So when I was in Senegal, we went to an amusement park one day, and they had a boat ride, and well, first of all of the rides seemed mildly, because when you're on a ride, you're like, oh, this is dangerous, but I know it really isn't, and that's the fun. At this theme park, it did just seem straight up dangerous. Like you would, so we were doing the pendulum ride, and we would get up so high, and the bar just like wasn't tight enough that we you had to hold everything down, and it was like, oh, I might actually fly out of this boat. Like I know that's the bit, is that like, ooh, what if but no, I might actually fly out of the boat. And they had one of that, it was basically like a teacup ride, but it's one of those where it like spins in multiple different like directions or whatever. But then every couple of seconds it would just like violently shake. And no one could ever figure out if that was on purpose, or it was like, is this part of the ride, or all in all, it was great. They had monkeys that were just out. They were just like around. It was like the way that there are peacocks at the zoo. They just had monkeys, which was a lot of fun. But anyway, all that to say, there was a distinct feeling of like, I know that the whole point is I feel like I'm gonna die. That's the bit, but I might actually die on this boat.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been to 4 theme parks. I've been to theme parks 4 times, and one was in Senegal.
Yeah. So you maneuver around Holiday World, and mostly I would say the attention to detail begins and ends with the free sunscreen and the Coca-Cola and the free soda that you can get. And there's Splash and Safari, which is
of course. Holiday
World Splash and Safari. Yeah, Splash and Safari is very, very vaguely themed, and by that I mean they just will not stop playing Beach Boys. Like if you go there and you think for 1 second you're not gonna hear Surf and Safari 100 times, you are sorely mistaken. And it's the Beach Boys hits. So we're not playing any. We're not playing any of the.
It's like deep cuts from Pet Sounds. It's like
no. It is Kokomo and it is Barbaran. Those are the two. Sure. It's those two on repeat.
And it's only those 2 songs because you can see how tired the employees look, and you just see part of them die every time that the song comes on. So that's the only 2 they're playing.
Yeah. So they're really getting after those 2, and. That's basically my that's kind of my gold standard for theme park, in that it is it's surprising every time you go, because you always think it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a rinky-dink nightmare. I got in here for $40. Like what's about to happen?
There's
and it's
free
like,
soda and free sunscreen.
And it's like, oh, this is actually incredibly pleasant. This is a very nice time. Pam's
running a tight ship over there.
Yeah, she really is. She cracks the whip. It is the friendliest. It's the friendliest service, but it is the most authoritarian managerial style. Like they really.
Hey, trains run on time over there.
Yeah, they lay it in. Listen, the rides run on time. The Raven does not miss. There was, and this might be a bit dark.
Sure.
When my girlfriend went to Carrie, Carrie went to Holiday World. The day before, someone had died on a ride.
Yarf.
And I was just like, damn. And then when she got there, she was like, this ride's open. There's not a sign. Like there
did they die of like a heart attack?
I think so. I think it was
that's not the ride's fault.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just like, there wasn't like all right, we're gonna have a moment of silence. We're gonna shut this ride down, just to like I don't know, but they were like, nope, this is like we're back at it.
Well,
Like,
I lived in Louisville. Okay, for the audience,
oh right, I think I already know where this is going.
I'm not editing this yet, so I'll just give you the timestamp. I was like, I'm not gonna give you the timestamp, but like, go forward like 2 minutes or something if you're not into sort of gory stories. Or just keep, I don't know, 2-3 minutes.
Welcome to Gory Story Hour.
Welcome to Gory Story Hour. So when I lived in Louisville, you know the elevator, or what they renamed it Superman something, whatever. It's a elevator. It's one of those rides where you go up and then it drops down really fast. And one time, it went up, and then one of the like tensioning ropes or something, one of the metal ropes, snapped as it was going down and wrapped around this woman's legs and tore both her legs off. And then they had to like helicopter her to Vanderbilt or whatever. But there was some sort of mix-up or something. I don't know. It took too long, so she lost one of her legs completely. They managed to reattach the other one. And then it closed down elevator forever. But to this day, I have never gone on and will never go on a elevator style ride because I'm like, that girl, like, her whole damn legs came off. Like, I know I know that they do that.
Was it her leg? Was it her feet?
I thought it was her legs.
Oh my gosh!
Like, it wrapped around her like thighs and just pinched them right off. And she lost her leg.
That is, I remember when, that like, there's stories where like they didn't know that their legs were gone until, I mean, like, how would you, right. Because you never
don't
really, that.
You're not prepared.
You're never in your life are you thinking that you're going to go up really fast and down really fast and then that's it,
Right. Well, right, because that's the whole bit is like, oh, it's so scary. What if something? But then you lost your fucking leg. Well, it's like my friend. It's like my friend Taylor. He
lost his fucking leg.
No, he almost lost his foot. You remember that, Taylor? Whatever. Taylor from college. So they were on the Bike for All's trip, and which is a charity ride across. Hey, if you're popping back in, skip forward another 2 minutes. Unfortunately, there was a second story. So it's a charity trip that my fraternity did, where they go from California and they bike across into I don't know, somewhere on the East Coast, and they raise money for Alzheimer's research. They do it every year. Anyway, Taylor was on the trip, and they had stopped at some creek or whatever, and were doing like a rope jump into this lake. Well, Taylor goes first. Turns out the lake is incredibly shallow. And he breaks his foot. And it almost like came off. This is why you skip forward.
Man, this really is a Zach and Sam Gory Story Hour.
I mean, of course I wasn't there, but like horrible. And like, now I say that I have jumped off rocks since then, but only like once, where it was like we go to the middle of the lake and there was a big rock in the middle of the lake. But like jumping off, I feel personally I have a pass for the rest of my life. Like, no, my buddy almost lost his foot doing this once. Like, I'm not doing
dude,
this.
I
He's
cannot.
Fine now. He didn't lose his foot.
Man, there's like, that is, jumping off big rocks is like, I don't get it.
Well, Drake's Creek, where they have that big like cliff that's like what has to be like 50 feet in the air. It feels like 50 feet. Yeah. I jumped off that one time, but I like didn't jump. I basically just ran, and I didn't like do a jump because I was so scared. And I didn't like do a jump. I just ran off, and like, thank God the water was as high as it was, because I hit bottom. Like, I hit it, and then like my legs went up, and so my butt hit the bottom. But I fucking ran. I was with a couple of fraternity brothers, and they were like, "Come on, go!" And I just ran, and I just kept running. Oh my
gosh!
Which, of course, because it's not Fast and the Furious, there's gravity. You don't just keep propelling.
Yeah, no, you ran, and then someone else had also thrown a rope at the exact same time, and you caught it and just flung.
Yeah, somehow my body weight
halfway across Kentucky.
My body weight didn't snap the rope immediately like it really would. No, I skated across the rope. No, I just, as soon as I got off the cliff, I just went straight down. And again, once I hit the water, my feet went up and my butt went down. So I just but I was like, oh fuck. And this was after Taylor. No, it couldn't have been. No, it couldn't have been. It must have been before. But after I've not done it since because I'm like, no, I'm good. My buddy almost lost his foot.
Yeah, I have this like really, really vague memory of there was, I don't know where this was, but I remember it because like, okay, so there was this, I was on like a trip. I was on like a rafting trip, and there was this part of the lake where you could like, it was basically what they referred to as a natural slide. Like you could go into like you could like go underneath the water, but there was like this tunnel of water that would push you through it, and it would take you into this like underground cave basically, and it would push you up out another side. So
you just have to drown a little bit.
You could either like go like around it in your little raft, or you could go through it. Like you could, it was like basically you would sit on this, like basically going down a slide.
Yeah.
Like you'd sit and then you'd put your legs into this hole and then just like slide down, and then it would just like kind of like it not shoot you, but inch you down through the water, and then you kind of came out the other side. And
but do you go underwater? I'm confused.
You go underwater. You go like you are underwater in like an underwater cave, underwater, and you like basically like it's like one of those like slides. It's like just a big tube.
But you just like hold your breath and pray. Like what?
Exactly. Like you know those slides that are like it's a slide that's like a tube slide. Yeah. But it's like you go into that. But imagine one of those is all the way filled with water, and you are just inching your way down in through like a giant boulder, basically, like a giant tube slide through a boulder. And people were like, "Oh, you like people in our group were like, oh, you got to do it, you got to do it." And I was like, "Fuck off,
like, fuck right off! I do not, in fact, have to do that.
Absolutely not." Like,
well, it's so funny because this is what people talk about with teenagers, where like they think they're invincible, and it's until you have stuff like a girl gets her legs chopped off, or your friend almost loses his foot, where you're like, how close was I to death so many times that I just didn't actually believe that was an option. When I was a little kid, I remember going to I was probably 10. I was on a field trip. Oh, so I guess this is the fifth time I went to a park. It was a water park. I just have this memory of like I was in like
you are
day camp.
And this is like a detective, and I am just like your stories. You're all over the place.
So, well, it was a water park, not a theme park. But it was like a day camp, you know, and everybody went to a water park. And I remember there was like a tubing section. There was like a tubing thing, and I went down the tube. And distinctly I remember you go down at first, and then there's basically a 90-degree turn, but the way that it's set up is you fly up in the air above the tube. Like you go straight down. Imagine you're going straight, and there's a 90-degree turn in front of you, and you're on the tube, and you are out of now because of gravity and stuff.
They take away the bars. You are your destiny is your own.
Well, that's the thing is like because of gravity, it's gonna pull you towards the center of the tube because you're flying up at this angle, and then you slam back down inside the tube and you go down. But I did it once or twice, and every time I thought like, so if I just like yanked to the side, would I just fucking fall 100 feet? Like, because you're out of the system. Like, it's a tube that goes. It's a half. Tube. Sorry, it's half.
It is. It is the tube equivalent of going off. It is like burning your license and your birth certificate. You were going off the grid.
Yeah, it's a semicircle, and you fly up it, and you're in the air, and then you fly back down in like a half pipe. But I'm just like up in the air, and it's the first thing, so you're as high as you can get. And like, yeah, looking back, I'm like, could I have just? Would that be it? Would I just? Would that? I feel like I've heard about water parks where they like tried to make the fastest slide in history.
Yeah.
Didn't I don't know. I can't remember this whole story, but I heard a podcast about it was like this slide that they would put test dummies on it, and they would go down, and the test dummies would get decapitated. And they're like, "We gotta open." And it's like, no, you fucking don't. Like, you asked yourself if you could. You never asked you if you should. This ride is too fast.
Like,
but I don't remember
damn.
the damn story.
Oh well.
Oh well.
There was this one. This is the Zach and Sam weird theme park episode, I guess.
Sure.
There was this one.
Nothing. I literally got out of my car.
Clearly, you do. You already talked about Senegal. A thing you never talk about. Speaking of Senegal, I saw a video of one of those lizards you used to talk about.
Oh,
that would
ones?
That would run. There's no way we can describe this in audio format, but it's like a lizard that would. It's like it would run with push-ups.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just imagine. You know what a lizard looks like. So they would run, and then they would do this kind of like what seemed like a tick, where they would just be like yunk, 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 and they would just like do push-ups, and then they would run some more. There were two kinds of lizards in Senegal. There were those which were everywhere. They were like squirrels. They were everywhere. And then there were these like Komodo dragon motherfuckers that were just out. So you would just walk outside, and they were just like,
the video I saw was of the Komodo dragon, because the way you described it was like it runs like a cartoon. Like it runs like it, like all of its legs are moving at the same time, but they're not all moving together, and they go like whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah,
and
because
they're
the way
they're like slipping and sliding on everything and crashing into everything.
Because they don't run. I can't explain that. No, sorry, I can't really describe that. But yeah. The way that their vertebrae is set up, that's why they can't run as fast as mammals.
It's like the way I describe it, it's someone is doing the squiggliest army crawl of ever.
Yeah,
like it is your left knee and your right hand are moving together, and your and your left hand and your right knee, those are moving together, but it's like if your hands are made out of squiggles.
They're just like it's really slow. They can't run very fast. I mean, they can run fast enough, but they can't run very fast. But no, we would go to places and they would just be out. They're like
they would just
dragons, and they're just out. And you're like, is that allowed to be here? And they're like, I mean, allowed. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, by God, sure. And you're like, okay, don't approach the fucking dragon that is just out. And then there were little lizards that were always doing push-ups.
Are those allowed to be? It's just like those should. And someone's got. I don't know if you guys have heard of zoos, but you guys gotta put these fuckers in a cage.
Or
this
guns,
is not allowed.
Like, kill this thing. This is a monster. Because they're huge. I mean, I would estimate, because they're like thick, I would estimate they're like 70 pounds. Like, they're these big ass monsters. And we didn't see that. Well, later in the trip. At the end of the trip, I was on a mission trip for like 6 weeks in Senegal, for the audience who doesn't know me. And the last week or couple days after we left Dakar, we went to a different city that I don't remember and stayed at like a hotel, like at a place. It was more like a motel, but it was like a place instead of the missionary facilities we'd been staying at for 6 weeks. So we stayed at this like hotel, or it's again not a hotel, it's a motel. But had a pool and stuff, and that's where all the Komodo dragons were, where they were just at. There was one that lived at our place in the first place we lived, at the missionary place, but I never saw it. We just talked about how like there's a monster that lives out here, but then we went to the resort, and they were everywhere, and it was just like, yeah, just don't mess with them because they'll bite the shit out of you, like they're monsters. So like, don't mess with them.
That is so.
It was fun. that was when I tried to box that bird, because we were out somewhere, and there was this giant vulture.
I've heard this story in forever.
A giant vulture. And I was walking around and we saw it. And we were just like,
so I put on my Everlast. I was out there. I wrapped up my hands.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna fuck this bird up.
The bird just came at me. Like, it wasn't coming at me in retrospect, but it was coming like right, like inches from me. And so I squared up on this bird, because it's like, I guess I gotta fucking kill a bird today. Like, it's kill or be killed. This thing's a giant.
It might happen.
I mean, it could have killed me. It's a fucking, whatever sparrow evolves into,
it was a falcor. It was
yeah, that's not falcor. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Falcor is from the Never-Ending Story, whatever they're called.
It's the big bird. It was huge. It was a huge vulture. And it came at me and was just like, "Bah!" And I was like, oh shit, time to square up on this bird. I guess I have to box a bird now. And it flew between me and someone else and like flew away. But we'd seen it for like hours. Like we had seen it sitting there just like watching everybody. Knew. But like, what am I going to, I mean.
Oh, it's called a Firo.
Firo. Well, anyway, I got attacked by a Firo, and I used quick attack and missed, but it was not effective.
I used dust. I just kicked dust right in its stupid face.
And I missed. It was not effective at all. But yeah, Senegal's a good. Hey, also, it sounds like I'm talking shit. I actually love Senegal. It's a really cool country, and Dakar is a cool city, but. It definitely has like
this. If anything, you should be on the tourism board. Like you're just like this one time I almost had to fight a bird. It was
I thought
awesome.
I was gonna box a bird. It rocked.
You never in your life, even in the most like remote parts of Oregon, you never in your life think you're about to box a bird.
You're not gonna box a Furio or
it never happens. It never happens.
Or see a giant Komodo dragon that they're like, we don't have a safeguard for this. It's just it lives here. So respect that. It's like, okay, I will.
Yeah. It's like I imagine it's like in Florida when there's just like, hey,
it's like gators.
That's an alligator. It's like, yeah, it sure is. It's like, oh.
That thing will fuck you up. And it's like,
maybe we just don't have these dinosaurs around. Like that would be like a cool.
It's very similar
cool
to
idea.
That. No, I'll tell you. I mean, we could talk more about Senegal some other time, but they have these buses called Jack and Jais, which are like a VW bus, maybe a little bigger. I guess it's like it's like size of a VW bus, and they put a bunch of bus seats in it, all the way back. It's probably 5 rows, and then they have these little like middle seats that pull up, right? So like imagine two sets of bus seats on either side, but then they put another seat in the middle that you can that's on a latch or on a hinge, so you can pull it up to get up to the front or to get through the rows, but also you can fit 5 more people in there because there's like 5 rows. But on top of that, they have a ladder on the back, and so you can just hang off the back of the Jag and Jai, and like that's how we got everywhere. They had cats and stuff, but the Jag and Jai was the best. I think it's like named after a guy. The guy who like, there were several different bus companies, and then eventually the Jag and Jai became the most popular, and then that just became the word for the kinds of buses. But yeah, we'd be going 40 miles an hour down the highway, and just holding on to the back of a ladder and just hanging off the back of this bus, and it was cool as shit. It was like a lot of fun. I don't, but they have like a mall and a university. Like it's a regular city. I always told people it's like the city of Louisville, but like covered in sand. Like there's just sand everywhere, but instead of grass. But we were there in the summer, so it was unbelievably hot. Some of the best food I've ever had in my life, but unbelievably hot. And there was sand everywhere. But during the rainy season, it's covered in grass. I just haven't been during the rainy season. So there's just sand instead of dirt. But it's a cool country and a cool town, Dakar. It's the western point of Africa. It's as far west as you can go. We actually went to the western point. There's like an area where they have a restaurant, and there's like this set of rocks, and it's like, yeah, you can just climb out there, and that is as far west in Africa as you can ever get. Like, oh, wicked.
Tight. Thanks.
Anyway, I can tell stories about Senegal all the time, but I will not. That's all I got, boss.
Yeah. So anyway, two clarification notes that I had earlier, which is one, okay. I did some earlier research, and that is just for all the royalty fans. The Queen did not have pugs. I full-time, real-time made that up. I don't know why I made that up. I just made it up. I thought
you meant Royalty, the album by Childish Gambino. I was like, what?
Yeah. No, I made that up. I don't know. I do not know why. I think it was just for attention. No, someone told me that.
I was trying to look cool in front of my friends.
Yeah. Someone had told me that the Queen had pugs at one point. I guess that person has lied to me.
Or they were also misinformed, maybe.
Or maybe, they were just trying to look cool in front of their friends.
Maybe they're trying to look cool in front of their friends.
Yeah. For having a pug that was having a lot of breathing issues right in front of me.
That's how, honestly, pugs don't want to be alive. Look, if you have a pug, God bless you, and I'm sure you love your little pupper so much, but like they don't like being alive. And
I think the only dogs that like being alive are upper middle class Labrador retrievers and your I was gonna say, and your friend's Australian Shepherd. That dog is an angel.
Lots of dogs. I think lots of dogs enjoy their existence. I'm just saying, like, pugs seem like they are. There's some types of dogs that like can't breathe very well. There's other dogs where you have to like massage their anus, or they can't poop or something. You know, it's like there are some dogs that it's like this dog's not happy with the breeding choices you have made. Like, you should mix this dog with something because it doesn't like this.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it's too late. Do you think is it a possibility to breed pugs out of existence? Like, just breed them into something else?
Breed them into a different kind of like pug.
Breed them into a back to wolves. We just go back to wolves somehow. We totally loop it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you mixed a pug and like, I mean, you have to start. It would have to be. You couldn't go like pug husky, but you could do like pug and like a corgi or like a. You know, maybe
a French bulldog and make an even worse thing. You have to start back over.
Yeah, that's true. A French bulldog is not, or a bulldog terrier are not happy dogs either. They don't seem happy, but maybe they are. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, like a medium-sized dog that isn't constantly dying in front of you. To breed that sort of death drive out of the pug. Or maybe they're great. I feel like I'm going to get a bunch of smoke from pug people. I actually don't care. Yeah. I don't care, guys. Sorry. You can see your dog. You know how they feel. And I'm not saying you need to breed your dog out of existence, but they seem uncomfortable.
Because you already have your dog, you know. We're not talking about your dog. You
I want to be very clear. I'm not telling you to kill your dog. I want to be really clear.
And by breeding your dog, it does not then cease to exist. So.
Yeah. Evolution is a process. I'm just saying that, like, if you're thinking about not spaying your dog or you want to breed your dog, I'm just saying maybe breed the pug with something else that has better like breathing,
has better stats, has better rolls on initiative, has higher strength modifiers, can see in the dark.
Yeah, it's the pugs are kind of the opposite of min-maxing, right? You took a half orc and made it a wizard, and it's like this is not really ideal for min-maxing your stats. Or more like you took a halfling and made it a barbarian. That's sort of maybe where you were at, and that's just not. They're just not built for that.
So but it'd be fun for a campaign, like maybe like a one-off, you know, like
sure.
Do it all, but
you know what it is.
Don't main that character, you know. That's definitely a side adventure, but yeah, definitely keep your main guy.
You've got a halfling and you multi-class with barbarian and wizard, and it's just like none of this is you're not even really much of a barbarian because you're splitting your stats, and also
we were talking to dog people. Now we're talking to no one.
I'm sure there are people that listen to our show that understand what that means, but or not. Guys, we're 55 minutes in. I'm so tired. I've been traveling for 2 weeks, so like, Mazel tov, thank you for being here. Appreciate it, but I'll show up with more next week.
Yeah, but briefly describe Disney World, because we were talking about how you're going to describe Disney World.
Oh, it's cool. I don't know. I mean, it was like a lot of attention to detail, a lot of really. Their rides are fun. They're really well made. I think the quote unquote magical part of it is it is not clear on any ride when you're getting in the line like how big it's gonna be. And so they all open up in a really magical way, where like Pirates of the Caribbean is that way, the Ariel ride is that way, it feels that way, where like they're so big, but it's all concealed by the entrance, so it doesn't look like it's going to be big. And so one thing that people praise Disney World for is that their lines are, even if you're in line for a long time, they have all this like cool stuff and like interactive stuff. throughout the line. And so, with Peter Pan, like we were joking in the line of like, oh, yep, that's the ride. You know what I mean? But we were just walking through the line. But it really does feel like it's a whole experience on its own. Oh gosh, sorry. It's a whole experience.
There's a dog in the room right now. It followed you.
No, I'm just recovering from playing with a dog earlier. It does feel like this whole experience, and so that kind of attention to detail and fun is really enjoyable. We went to Epcot as well, and it's the same thing where like each little town square is a different country, and they really feel like you're in that country. I mean, it's really well done and well made. Some of it's a little kitschy. Oh, the Hall of Presidents was closed, which sucked because that's what I really wanted to see.
That was the whole reason for the trip. You just based the entire thing around that.
It wasn't, but I was disappointed that I couldn't go to the Hall of Presidents because they were closed down to put the Biden president in there. So I couldn't see all my boys, all my terrible, terrible boys.
Every last one of them. Zachary Taylor, every last one of them.
I was talking to my mom the other day about that. I'm like, George Washington gets like 50% of a pass. Everybody and Lincoln, everybody else is garbage. And even then, those two only get like a half pass. You're fine. You two are fine. Everyone else, absolute monster.
Yeah, even my darling boy James K. Polk.
James K. Polk, underrated.
Yeah, underrated.
The most underrated president, but also a monster.
Yeah, definitely a monster. Are you familiar with Ginny Nicholson's content?
I am.
She did something. She did like the 10 most underrated things to do at the 10 most underrated things to do at Disney. And one of them, I can't find it, but it was like going to Epcot and going to this restaurant where there is like this giant space alien that is like playing a fake piano. Like it's I
missed that.
Oh man, that's the only reason I would go to Epcot. It's like this, it's like in the restaurant and it's like this alien that's singing a song. And she was like, if you listen to the song, it's actually singing about its own biography. Like it's like telling you how it got here.
That's funny.
And it's not singing about the restaurant or anything else. It's just like mostly just kind of singing about
planet
like,
being destroyed and all its family being dead.
It's its own little odyssey to become to where we are now, which is the height of culture to playing playing for anybody in this restaurant. Yeah.
That's funny. I'll have to. I like Ginny Nicholson. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. But those are the. I think I would just watch her video on underrated things to do and make sure I do all those. One of the things she did though was go to a petting zoo, and that is a 0% on that one.
Really? Did your friend lose his foot at a petting zoo or something?
No, unless they have some of those Komodo dragon looking things. There's no
don't
chance.
Pet those, dude. They are not a pet. They'll fucking attack. I never attacked anybody, but like I saw in their eyes, they were like, I'm a 70-pound lizard. I'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
They are not playing around.
Yeah, you think when you see like a hippo wiggling its ears around, you're like, oh, what a cute little monster, and it's just like, I will kill you. I've killed so many. Like,
I will kill you, and it won't be the most interesting part of my day.
I have killed so many. There are so many unmarked graves.
Only hippos.
Only hippos, and the Komodo dragons do the same way. Like you have your illusion of intelligence has really made you believe that I will not end your life right here.
For nothing. For no reason.
Right here next to this college.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy. Well, thank you all so much for coming to Get Better. If you want to find more of our stuff, you can find us on Instagram at Get Better Podcast. That's at Get_Better_Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube at Get Better Podcast. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so at meetthefockers2 fockedup@gmail.com. That is meetthefockers2 fockedup@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please continue to do so. It's really helpful. But if you are looking to give a rate and review, please do that on the iTunes podcast app, and please give us a rate and review. Give us, if it's an honest 3-star, that's fine. Anything that gets the engagement up. But we'd ask, it'd be great if you give us a 5-star review for talking about theme parks and Komodo dragons. And yeah, that's all I have. So
Also, if
See you
you're from,
guys
if you have
next-
any
oh.
friends in Senegal, because we have, okay, so here's an update on our analytics.
Oh,
we
right.
still don't have Mississippi. We've gotten everywhere in the South, actually most of the country, except no downloads in Mississippi. We've got no new movement on
They're
South
not ready
America.
for our content.
Well, that's what I was saying, is we'll probably get all of South America before we get Mississippi, which I guess is still up in the air. We have 0 downloads from any of the 40 some odd countries in Africa. So I don't know how you guys can make that. Our Belgian fans are very active, so maybe, they're at least on the side of the hemisphere. Always our Irish fans are out there, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't care one way or the other, I guess, but it's just fun to watch the map light up. So if you know anybody in Africa that might like our bullshit show, send it their way.
Yeah, so that's your homework assignment for the week. Report back to us at meetthefockers2 fockedup@gmail.com.
Mississippi or South America or all of Africa.
Yeah, that's just that. We give you guys a big. It's like writing a paper on the Industrial Revolution or a topic as broad. We're really giving you guys a lot of room to gallop with this assignment. All right, well, see you guys next week.
All right.
All right,
See you. Bye forever.
see you. Bye forever.